Morning YouTube, Lloyd here from sunny Southern California. This morning I'm going to be removing the lower ball joint from a 2004 Ford Taurus, and I'm just going to show you my steps, and hopefully this video will be of help to you. First, you want to just make sure you have a good combination set, socket set, which is good. You need some large metric wrenches, 21 mil. This is what I'm going to be used to removing the nut from the lower ball joint, 22 mil. That goes on a special tool you need to remove the ball joint. So I'll just bring you over here. We have here from AutoZone the ball joint removal tool 27023. This will work in conjunction with the Ford adapter, which will come in use. And this is 27163, and I'll show you how to do that. Of course, you need a parts ball joint. I'm using the Pro Steer brand. Over here we have the trusty impact hammer, 5-pound sledge. This tool here, the 30 mil socket for removing the nut from the drive shaft. Of course, tire wrench, pliers, side cutters, screwdriver, and of course my extension for my breaker bar. So what I'm going to do here this morning, I'm going to remove the cap from the center of the wheel, which I already taken off already. I'm going to be removing the nut from the drive shaft, loosen the nuts from the wheel. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put you on hold, jack the car, take off the wheel, have everything prepped, and then I'll come back to you and show you step by step. Hopefully this video will make life easier for you guys. Okay, now I have the tire off, and I have the nut for the drive shaft all loose. Notice that I left it on. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a few whacks with the hammer so as not to damage the threads. Now, here is that drive shaft. So I'm going to take this nut off, give us a few whacks, separate the drive, the lower control arm from the tire, from the ball joint, and then I'm going to take off the drive shaft. Try to set up my C-ring and my special tool for the Ford, and I'll come back and show you exactly how it works, and then we will remove the ball joint. I'm also going to give this several hard whacks to loosen up the ball joint, which should make it a little easier to take out. So I'm going to try and approach it from that handle instead of taking off all this stuff. I'm going to try not to take off my brake assembly, my strut assembly, my rotor assembly, and see if I can get the job done that way. So let's see. Okay, so here we are. So what I did, I loosened up the nut for the drive shaft, give it a few whacks with my 5-pound sledgehammer. There it is. And then after I got it loose, I finished it up with my dead blow hammer, so as not to damage anything. So after I loosened that up, came back here, I took the nut off the ball joint, beat on it with my sledgehammer, push it down with my crowbar, and just put it in between the knuckle and the control arm right there. After removing it, separated, I just pull this out of the way, take off the CV, and so I'm going to set up now the ball joint removal tool. But before, there is a clip that's right here that I'm going to have to remove, and I'm using my Harbor Freight special clip removal tool. So I'm going to take that off. I'm going to set up the tool for removal, but before that I'm going to give this surface a few whacks with my sledgehammer to kind of loosen it up, and then take it from there. Okay, I'm back. I was having a little difficulty, so I had us to jack the car a little higher just to clear the shaft of the ball joint removal tool. And as you can see from the small kit I used right here, if you can see, the small piece that goes over the spindle of the ball joint. And if I could just make it a little clearer here, I use the small cup. Let me get some light in here. I use a small cup right here from the ball joint removal tool. That's the fourth tool, which is this one. So this piece here goes on the spindle. This piece here goes on top of the ball joint, and when I'm getting ready to put it back in, this piece here will receive the spindle. So I'll set it up for you. So now I'm ready. I've already given it a few whacks and I've started to remove it. The C-clip is off, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it from the car. Okay, YouTube, it took me 30 seconds, and this is the setup. This is the receiving cup from the small kit. This is my old ball joint. This is the adapter that goes over the spindle, just like that. It took me 30 seconds. It was real simple. So now I'm going to set up the new ball joint, and when I do that, I will use this piece to receive the new ball joint, and I'll show you how I will do that. Be back in a few seconds. Okay, and here's the setup. You don't need to have anything on the top of the ball joint removal tool. Just set that right on top of your new ball joint. And let's see if I can pull this back here. Oh my goodness. That's a new ball joint in there. That's that cup that I was telling you about. Kind of snugged up with the shaft for the ball joint removal tool. Just make sure everything is straight and clean inside there, and I'm just going to go ahead now and slowly try to press it in while I make sure everything is straight and clean. I'll put a little lube on the new ball joint and I'm going to press it in. So far everything is going okay. I didn't have to take all that stuff off, and I'm going to put it in and come back to you and let you know how it went. Okay, the new ball joint is pressed in. Believe me, it took me just about a little over a minute to do that. And this is a setup. This is the receiving part for the spindle of the ball joint. This section rests on top of the ball joint. I just use a large wrench and kind of hump that on as you put it in. If you feel it's kind of tightening up on you, give it a few whacks with your 5-pound sledgehammer. Believe me, it loosens right up and you just keep going, and that's why I did it. Piece of cake so far. I'm going to start putting the car back together. Before that, I'm going to install my C-ring right there. When you use this cup though, be careful when you put this on just to clear the boot. Make sure you do not damage the boot. So I'm going to start installing the pieces. Just make sure the car is jacked up high enough. Notice I had to tie my tie rod out, my drive shaft out of the way. Just kind of getting in the way. So I did it. Ball joint out, ball joint in. Didn't have to take off all this stuff. Took me quicker than I thought. So I'm going to start assembling this baby, and I hope this will definitely help you guys out here. Just get the right tool. This piece was the winner. It's the Ford ball joint adapter kit, AutoZone part number 27163. Makes the job so much easier. Works in conjunction with the AutoZone part 27023. Have a nice wrench. What helped me here was this large adjustable wrench. Did a job. I even have a larger one. So I'll start putting things back together, and I will show you how it goes. Notice I had my jacks and a couple 2x4s. I had to get it high enough to clear this spindle off the ground. I do not have the luxury of power tools, and I'm kind of winded here. And lifts to take my car up, so I have to do it the Fred Flintstone way. Okay guys, I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay YouTube, it's all done. Just had a little problem trying to line up my ball joint back into the lower control arm here. it was a little springy. And then the problem I ran into, I pulled my CV shaft too far out and it dislocated, so I had to get that back in. Piece of crap. So anyhow, there it is, ball joint in. Took me about 45 minutes total time. See, the cotter pin is on. I was careful not to rip my new boot. This arm had a tendency of trying to spring up to damage this boot, so be careful when you're doing that. And here it is. The shaft is in with my washer and bolt, and I'm done. I'm just going to tighten everything up now and jack the car down and attack the other side. So thanks for looking. I hope this did help. I kind of put grease on everything, a little grease here and some grease around the shaft of the ball joint. Didn't have to take my shocks off, nor my brake, nor caliper, nor tie rod in, or anything like that, or you know, remove my anti-lock brake system. I think that's what this is. But the only problem was that right there, the CV came a bit too far out and it dislocated right there. I had to get that back in. That was the only reason. But apart from that, I'm done. So I'm going to go do the other side now. Thank you for watching, and have any questions, please feel free. And if I have any more info, I'll be happy to post it. Thank you. Bye-bye.